So, welcome to Metal Wani and Metal Nation Radio. This is your host, Vitek, here with one and only Danny Marino of The Agonist. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Good to be here.
That's great. Now, you guys just a month left, from unleashing new album, I Have Providence. Now, you got to tell me, debut, album of somebody who's joined the band as a singer right now. So, how excited and nervous are you guys feeling?
We're just super excited to be able to show everyone the whole album. It's something we've been working so hard at for quite a long time now, and we're happy that we're finally getting to show a little bit of it now. But still, we just know there's 13 songs on there, and it's just like we know there's a lot of different things going on throughout it. So just can't wait till we can show the whole thing to everyone.
Awesome. Now, you released 2 music videos and few singles as well. So you must have come across the response your fans, have come up with. So some of the best responses you've heard so far?
I just love when I hear things like this is the Agonist. Like when people realize that the core of the Agonist is absolutely there, and it's a signature that it's something that we've created over the years, and it's not about one person, it's not about Alissa, and it's not about me, and it's something that was forged together. And at the same time, Vicky obviously brings something different to the table, which can be refreshing, to be like, oh, it's a new thing. Like, obviously there's in any band that changes the lead singer, there's always going to be shock.
Right.
Some people will be shocked initially, and if the music is good, which we think it is, they get over it and go past it and say, you know what, this is great, or this is even better, and
right.
There's always going to be, like with Iron Maiden or Judas Priest, even, there was people who just never got over it with things. So, and it's just, I understand if that's how those people are, then I'm sorry if you don't like it, but we're here to stay, and we're going to keep making music.
Absolutely. Now, I had an honor of listening to the album, and I gotta say that when I look at the entire discography of the Agonist, this is definitely your best effort till date. I mean, you guys have taken a different path this time, even though you have kept your core, you've stayed true to your roots, but you have taken a little bit of different path. And I find that there are a lot of details being put into each song rather than actually being a filler.
Well, thank you very much for that. We're really proud of the album, and I think that really what sets it apart for me personally, from my viewpoint, is the way we approach the songwriting process was really different on this one. The other 3 were all written in the same method. It's like maybe I picked up some new, guitar ideas as the albums progressed, but the method for recording was the same, which was I would write a song, I would bring it to Alissa, and she would write the lyrics and vocals, and that's it. And it was just, here's the song, and then she does whatever she does, and here it is, it's done. And there was zero communication at all. There was no like, maybe we should change this guitar part. Yeah, no collaboration. It was me and her, and we 50-50 on that. Like I did all the music and she did all the vocals. And a lot of bands still do work that way, but after Vicky joined, we took a much more collaborative approach in that even though maybe I still wrote the majority of the music concepts, then I worked with the guys more closely in getting the drums and bass lines and things like that down that made sense for everyone, but most of all made sense for the song.
Right.
Everyone's viewpoint on this album was what's best for the song. Whereas on previous albums, maybe people got a little selfish thinking about, like, what about just my vocal part, or what about just my guitar part?
Oh, right.
And so it's like you're taking a bunch of complex ideas and putting them together and forcing them to be together when maybe they're clashing, or it could be better phrased.
True.
So that's how we took the approach on this album. So there was a lot of communication between me and Vicky, and like like she lived with me basically for the
Hmm.
period that we wrote and recorded the album. We lived together, so that helped solidify that communication that we were able to. I was able to say to her like, "Oh, let me hear what you have there. Oh, that's pretty cool, but right here I'm ending on this note. Maybe if you just brought it up here to this key, that would make it even, this kind of communication never
Communication,
happened
right,
before."
right. Sounds
So
sounds
that's
really good.
yeah. So the songs ended up just coming across as I don't know. I feel like it's more like one piece of art rather than separate pieces that are glued together.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, like we are talking about the kind of an approach, different approach you took for songwriting this time. Do you think, Eliza's vocals on this particular music which you have written would have fit better than Vicky, or I think Vicky just made it uber cool.
I because of the approach that I'm talking about, I
Hmm.
think Vicky's work would work way better with these songs
Hmm.
because there was no room for or discussion with Alissa. Like there was never even it was never even considered that any of the guys' input on vocals or lyrics,
Right.
it would never even be an option. And to be honest, there's a number of songs on Lullabies and Prisoners that I never heard the vocals until they were recorded
Hmm.
on the album. So I didn't even know what was going on. It was just like I knew these are my songs. There was a bunch of songs that I hadn't heard any vocals for yet at
Hmm.
all, and then it was just like, here, it's done, this is it. And so it was as new to me as it was to a fan. So the fact that we took the time to before we went and recorded the instruments on this album, we already knew what the singing was going to be,
Right.
and that was new for us. So
That's
we could
really cool.
anticipate. We
Yeah,
could
you could figure out
anticipate.
what's going to happen, how it's going to sound.
Yeah. So we could be able to anticipate and not make mistakes. Like think, oh, and now it's too late because the drums are already laid down and we can't re-record the drums. You know, that kind
That
of thing.
that's true. Now, there's always been comparisons, and I mean, as a musician myself, it sucks to be honest. When the people compare two vocalists of different background and different approach.
Yeah.
But is this something which you feel that Vicky, might take up, or maybe learn some lesson from what Eliza has done, in the past with the band?
I mean, sure, maybe. I don't know if I can't pick of something specific, but she did take into account like she was joining a band that already had 3 albums.
Right.
It wasn't so we have established a sound, and she would say to me too sometimes. Sometimes I would make a suggestion that's like maybe really outside the box vocally, and she would say something like, "Well, to me that doesn't sound like the Agonist."
Right.
So she had an understanding of that she's even though she's doing her own thing, she's still joining an established band, and Alissa did establish a certain kind of way with the vocals, so she couldn't go too far away from it,
Okay. Right.
So there was that understanding, I guess. So I don't know specifics, but I guess she could have thought of what Alissa had previously done.
Right, absolutely true. Now, coming back to the music, I mean, it's really cool to see how you guys have arranged the clean parts and then the aggressive parts as well. I noticed your ballads are well in the material. So, was it like a conscious decision to have a good, segregation of these parts being placed accordingly?
Yeah, it was kind of the Agonist, has on all the albums we've done this sort of thing where we've cut away within a song, maybe to a clean passage or something that's outside of metal in some
Right.
way. But then and it's just like a little bridge section of a song, and then we come back into the metal song. So this time I was thinking like, why can't we just have an entire song that is of a certain mood instead of being afraid that people will say that's not metal or whatever, it's like,
Right.
and I think to set that mood throughout the whole song, it creates a certain emotion, and that's pretty much why we tried to do that, on a couple songs on the album. And there's some stuff on there that the songs you're talking about, there's stuff, a lot of it is things I've had for a long time, and I was afraid to bring it into the band, because I thought maybe it's too different, people won't accept it. but I just felt more confident now that this is who we are. Like, you know, we are death metal and thrash metal and acoustic and rock, and
All right.
you know, we are, that's a lot of our fans like that we kind of go a lot of different places, so why not just embrace it?
Absolutely. I want to take one point over here. The song, the last one, As Above, So Below. Now, it's a very long piece, and the way it's written is, I don't know, I don't seem to figure out whether Agonist has done that in the past, but it's really refreshing for me as a fan to listen to something like As Above, So Below coming in your discography, more like, a gentle storm towards the end of the album.
Yeah, I mean, that for me, I've been all my life inspired by a lot of music that I think that's what I tried to bring out in that song that I'd never written before, which is basically prog rock, psychedelic rock,
Right.
this kind of thing. You know, bands like Tool and A Perfect Circle and the Mars Volta and even 70s prog bands like King Crimson, you know, all these things. I've always loved all this music, and it's just kind of like, why don't I just try to do my version of what that is to me,
Right.
you know? So to me, when you do a song like that, first of all, it needs to be long.
True.
Because it needs time to build, because it's very patient music. It's not the kind of thing where you need to satisfy that hook right away or something. It's like it needs to build and get to that crescendo, you know, that you're building up to. So it's not like, I mean, I listen to a lot of Opeth and they do 12, 16-minute songs.
All
so
right.
8 minutes, not so bad, you know.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. Now, talking about Wookiees vocals, there's that extra special which I felt was the way the majestic clean parts come in, and then those brutally creative growls come in. So that balance, what she maintained, which is like the transitions also are pretty smooth, and that's something which was lacking in the Agonist, to be honest. So do you think that Vicky has actually come full circle with you guys with her vocals and actually given a really good attempt on the debut?
I 100% think so. I think she's the perfect vocalist for this band, and honestly, the fact that she had maybe a bit more vocal training in a classical sense,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that she's a musician, that's the thing. She's not just a singer,
Right.
She can play piano and a bit of guitar, and like she understands things from a musician standpoint. It's kind of refreshing to also talk to her in those terms and have that kind of that language to communicate in. So when she hears a song or a riff or something, she'll understand it from that perspective and know how to work with it.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's overall the versatility that I saw in her when I first saw her videos online was the number one thing that drew me to want to ask her to audition.
That's awesome. Now, what are the plans of taking this material live? Because that's where the magic happens. Fans get to see you guys. Fans get to see Vicky. They've already seen before. So, talking about the new material, any tours coming up?
Yeah, well, we're doing a full European tour in March. That's how we're starting off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're doing 4 shows in Canada first, and then the European month, and then we're doing another month and a half in the United States.
Nice.
Which is not announced yet, but it will be soon. And then the rest of the world, hopefully, I can't really say at this point. It's all being planned out. Maybe we'll come to India for the first time.
Absolutely. I was just about to ask this question to you that, Arch Enemy and now, the Agonist, there are a lot of fans when we categorize music and they really want the bands to come here. We've been lucky enough to see a lot of bands come in from last few years. So maybe, when Agonist comes here, it'll make it even more interesting for us.
Yeah, I really hope so. I have friends that have gone there recently, like Fear Factory.
Right.
And Epica.
Right.
So seeing that, it gives me a lot of hope, and I could see it. I really could see it happening, you know.
Absolutely, Danny. Now, before I conclude the interview, how about you define Eye of Providence in just one sentence?
It's metal music from the heart.
There you go. Danny Marino, new album, Eye of Providence from Agonist, coming up Feb last week by Century Media. Thank you very much once again for doing this interview, and look forward to see you guys, live anywhere, at least in Europe, if not in India.
Thanks very much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.